Mercury retrograde is ending. Pisces season is coming to a close. Eclipse season is ushering on out of here. And the astrological new year and Aries season is only a few days away. Right now, we are standing on one of the most reflective moments ever for the astrological calendar. So before Aries season asks us to laser focus, lock in, let's talk about what this Pisces new moon might be revealing.
You're listening to The Holistic Ritual, a podcast for holistic health-minded humans seeking mind, body, spirit well-being. Hosted by Kamela Celeste, IIN holistic health coach, former personal trainer, and meditation guide. With over a decade of experience guiding transformation and whole person healing, you're invited into the practice of guided meditations, affirmation readings, and spiritual insights through a holistic wellness lens. Blending ancient wisdom with modern science, this space supports you in releasing, renewing, and reconnecting with your inner wisdom. Cultivating a sanctuary you can return to each week as your own holistic ritual. Without further ado, let's get into the episode.
Hello, and welcome back to the Holistic Ritual. Happy St. Patty's Day. I am your host, Kamela Celeste. This week we have a lot of very interesting astrology. There is a lot happening in a very short amount of time. Mercury retrograde is wrapping up this Friday, March 20th. Pisces season is also wrapping up. It's coming to a close as we are about to usher in Aries season. And then, of course, this wild eclipse season is also wrapping up as well. Just ahead, we also have the Spring Equinox, which also marks the very beginning of the astrological new year. So this moment right now, traditionally, as we are experiencing a new moon in Pisces tomorrow, new moons are typically about beginnings, intention setting. And there's definitely a little hint to that, but because we are on the cusp of one year closing and another just starting, it could just kind of feel like we're wrapping things up and reflecting on all of our lessons from this past Mercury retrograde and eclipse season. And we will get into all of that. So one thing I do want to ask, who did we encounter during this time period, during Mercury retrograde and over eclipse season? From eclipse to eclipse and through these last few weeks? Who came into our lives? Who left our lives? What misunderstandings or miscommunications were brought forward and sparked larger conversations or some perspective? What have our dreams been telling us lately? I know I've been having some pretty wild dreams, and the same few people keep popping up. So I definitely have to unpack that and figure out what that is meaning for me. But the most important thing, what lessons from this past month that we've had this retrograde, that we've had these eclipses, what are the lessons that we can take with us and integrate as we move forward into Aries season? But before we can move forward with this newfound courage and integration, and with that action, Pisces is asking us to reflect and to listen, but we have to pause long enough in order to do so. And that is what today's ritual is all about. So before we get into our spiritual guidance, let me just walk over the lay of the land and what to expect going forward as you walk around and go about your day. So today we will pull from our Oracle deck for a little spiritual guidance. We'll walk through the astrology of the Pisces New Moon. And we will also talk about how to support yourself through these major energetic transitions. And then we'll close out with a small grounding just to seal our ritual for the day. That is what you have to look forward to. And I am just going to set up our little ritual space for us. So I'm going to light this candle. And if you're watching today, or if you're just listening, I should say, I am standing. I love my standing desk and I never use it for the podcast. I am just a little bit sleepy, so I thought that we would stand up today to help kind of give us some energy. My sleep lately has been crazy, terrible. I have not been able to sleep at all. And as always, you don't need anything to participate in this. This is meant to just listen while you are on a walk, while you're doing your makeup, cleaning your house maybe, on your morning commute or your evening commute, driving, whatever you are doing, it is meant to seamlessly integrate into your life. You are completely welcome here exactly as you are. Okay, today's collective question that I want to ask for us. And let me just clear this deck before we ask. What am I being invited to close, to reflect on, or to listen to before this astrological new year takes flight? Let me just give her a nice little shuffle. Pisces season is not about forcing any answers. It's more about allowing things to rise for us to be a little more in tune with some of those deeper emotional things that have been happening below the surface. Also with this retrograde as well, it can feel very hazy right now. So we definitely want to take this moment to gain a little bit of clarity before we move forward. So let's pull a card and I will see if I want to pull some more cards, depending on whatever comes up. Okay, just kidding. I had 2 cards that fell out today. I'm using my Talisman Oracle deck per usual. And the 2 cards that we pulled today are Willpower, which I believe we just had this card pretty recently, and Blessed Day, which is pretty interesting because of the Spring Equinox. Okay, we are sitting down because I don't know what was going on with the lighting, but it was doing something weird. Okay, so Willpower, Blessed Day. These 2 cards are interesting, particularly because as we close out Pisces season, we are welcoming the Spring Equinox, Aries season, Astrological New Year, of course. But the equinox is something that is interesting in the sense that it is a day where light and dark have equal amounts of time. It represents balance and renewal and also new beginnings. So really March 20th, this Friday, March 20th, or whatever day it is for you, is actually so much new rebirthing kind of energy. It is actually crazy. So let me find the cards here in this book. And I think they are, alphabetical. So let's read Blessed Day first, and then I will kind of put them together as we do them. Okay, Blessed Day. From sunrise to moonset, you are blessed to have good luck. If you see this card in a reading, know that today is your day to act upon your wishes. The silk moth is a symbol of internal transformation, and the silk moth is what is on the card here. Okay, yes, the silk moth is a symbol for internal transformation and hope. Start directing change toward what you want to achieve. So perfect. It all starts with believing that you can. Joy and happiness will surround you and follow you the entire day. Spread your wings, embrace the beautiful energy and share it with the rest of the world. And then willpower is the other card, which is very curious. And I feel like we just drew willpower not too long ago. Yeah, because it is totally, the spine is bent to the page. So I know I probably have pulled this for you before. Okay, willpower. It's time to channel your willpower through fierce dedication. You have set your objectives, and by applying discipline, commitment, and courage, you will achieve your goals. At times, your target may seem too far away, or people might try to convince you to adjust your expectations, but you alone know the power that you hold within. Stay confident in your abilities and focus on the next step in front of you. The dominant presence of the bull is helping you through the test of your strength and resilience. The victory is within reach. So, Blessed Day and Willpower, these two cards for the question that we asked the cards. What am I being invited to close or to listen to before I move forward in this new chapter? Leaving behind your negativity, perhaps, because Blessed Day is the opposite of that. It is abundance, it is joy, it is luck, it is expansion. And then we have willpower. If you stick to whatever you are trying to achieve, if you haven't done your vision board yet, I know I've said this for the past few episodes, get on it. This is your last push to create this before we start this new year. Stay the course. Whatever you are doing right now, that whatever you've been thinking about, you are going to have luck. You have divine guidance and luck on your side to make it happen. And it is all coming to you. All you have to do is keep chugging along. Keep at it. Be consistent. And you are going to see exactly the result that you want to see. So yeah, this is the year. This is the year of the horse. Remember, we talked about this. Things are going to feel like they are coming fast and very, very abruptly. So prepare yourself now, because my thinking is with Aries and the double fire horse energy together, that is going to be a very intense concentration of fire energy. So think about all of the goodness that comes out of fire energy. It is initiation, action, the risk taking, but also can be some impulsivity to it. So all of this to say, you are being blessed right now for this day, this week. It's also St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patty's Day to all of my Irish friends. But you have the luck. Luck is on your side. Whatever it is you want to do today, go for it. If it is reaching out and texting that person, you have luck on your side. Just do it. If it is going to a brand new restaurant that you've been wanting to try for ages, go to the restaurant. Do it. Maybe you get a free appetizer or something. Who knows? Or maybe it's applying for that new job. Whatever it is today, do it. You have luck on your side. You just need to activate your willpower in order for all of these things to become yours. Okay, that was quite a long yap for that. So I hope it resonated with you. And if not, I'm going to try to shuffle these a bit better next time. So I feel like we've been pulling some similar cards the last couple weeks. But maybe it's just we need the reminder, you know? Sometimes it's that too. All right. And now I want to get into just our little reflection for today. As I mentioned, right now we're standing at a threshold. We are not entirely out of this closed chapter yet, but we're not also in the new one yet. It is the limbo in between where we're going and where we were, which can feel a little bit, what's the word for it? It can feel a little mundane, I would say. And we also need to talk about the new moon that is happening tomorrow on March 18th. Oh my gosh, my brain is like going so slow right now. Okay, so Pisces, this energy is dreamy, it's intuitive, it represents emotional integration, intuition, compassion, reflection, and also because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, also endings that happen. So it is a very dream-like, introspective, and creative type of energy. I also feel like Pisces are very in tune with their own emotions. They can be very spiritual, and they also offer a lot of compassion to people in their most positive side to them. They are wonderful natural healers and artists. So, with all of this type of context, this new moon can feel like you are experiencing it through your dreams and through emotions, and also like body sensations and maybe a little bit of nostalgia or like memories. If certain memories are resurfacing right now, I would think about the overall general feeling of that memory and maybe the lesson that you had for that energy. It could also be a time of just getting like small little pings, or like just a knowing that something is here, something is shifting. And so with the Pisces new moon arriving just before the spring equinox and Aries season, it is asking us to also close things out, to wrap it up, use our intuition and our spirituality and our emotions to surrender whatever it is we need to surrender before we can move forward with Aries. And I know new moons are typically about planting seeds, planting intentions, rebirth, a clean slate, and a beginning. But because this new moon happens in Pisces, and because it is also right before a new year, astrologically speaking, of course, it could feel more like a really big moment of reflection before the new beginning. So this new moon could bring some emotional clarity to certain things that you maybe have been confused about. It could also bring a lot of intuitive downloads. And you could also be feeling a desire for some more solitude, to be more with yourself right now, to get those downloads, and an awareness of what has run its course. What do we need to not bring with us into Aries season, into the spring equinox? And then again, all in the same day, all in the same week, we have so many things happening. Retrograde finishes, Pisces is closing, eclipse season. We had a crazy eclipse season, I feel like. Like I opened with, people have come into our lives, they have gone. Eclipses are very faded type of energy. So thinking about those lessons, those people, those situations that may have happened that felt very faded, or it felt, what was the point of this? The point is it was faded. It was meant to happen, which could seem kind of confusing depending on, what the situation is. But in terms of people entering or leaving your life. So this energy is really shifting from a reflective, introspective type of energy to initiation and an outward focused energy. Again, Pisces asks us to listen. Aries is asking us to act. So this next week is really about creating the space to hear your own wisdom before you leap into this next chapter. And then to go over where Pisces lives in your birth chart. That house and the themes of that house are likely what could be coming up for you during this Pisces new moon. Something is closing, something is becoming clearer, something is asking for us to be emotionally honest with ourselves. So, for example, Pisces in the 4th house is home, family, emotional roots. Pisces in the 7th is relationships and partnerships. Pisces in the 11th house is community, friendship, long-term goals. Wherever Pisces lives in your chart is where this new moon could be inviting you to reflect before you begin a new cycle. So it is about intention setting. It is about declaring those things and having a clean slate to see what is going to unfold over this next 30-day period before we have the full moon that illuminates everything that happened. But we have to also do a bit of reflecting with this new moon as well and take an inventory of everything that happened over Eclipse and Mercury retrograde season, because there are likely so many lessons that we need to really sit with before we can integrate them. And so my homework for you this week, or my little mini reflective thing, is one thing I've been hearing a lot about lately from many of my friends is the need to be in deeper relationship with themselves more. And I think this Pisces new moon is a really beautiful time to do that, because Aries season is going to ask us to build, to initiate, to start something new, and also to lock in, because we are about to move forward with speed, baby. We are moving so fast. Before we get in the car and foot on the gas pedal 0 to 100 in under 60 seconds, we need to spend time with ourselves and listening to our intuition to recalibrate ourselves before we move forward. We need to ground before we can act, so that we are moving from the most spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally aligned place. It's so important for us to do this grounding, to do this work before we move forward with blind action. We have to move forward from our intuition, from our gut, from the really intentional goals and intention in general that we want to move with speed with. And so with this time and space that we give ourselves, or that I'm inviting you to give yourself, this could really look like anything, just spending some solo time with yourself. So going on a long walk, spending some time in nature, taking yourself on a solo coffee date, spending an afternoon or a whole day without your phone and just doing whatever, allowing yourself to be bored, to journal without an agenda, to draw, to paint, to do any type of hobby that you haven't done in a while, maybe that you really enjoy. Spend some time with yourself. Or maybe it is having a slower and quieter morning where you don't reach for your phone right away. And maybe you do some morning pages. Maybe you sit on your balcony or your back porch or somewhere where you can get a little sun and just have a nice quiet moment to yourself. Sometimes the most important preparation we can do for a new chapter is allowing ourselves to become available to our own innate wisdom. The only way we can do that is by spending time with ourselves, by doing and allowing for the downloads and for our own intuition to come forward. So when you are with yourself, especially pay attention to your dreams right now, to any emotional insight you may be getting or emotional clarity. Where are you feeling these things in your body when you are spending this time with yourself and you're getting a download? Where are you feeling it? Are you feeling it in your heart, in your hips, in your mind? Just really taking the time to recognize our own body sensations. And you don't need to rush any answers. You don't need to force yourself to come up with some wisdom or some answers if it's not there. The most important thing is just creating the space for it to flow in. And we can't do that, or it's harder to hear our own intuition and divine connections and downloads when our mental and physical and emotional spaces are cluttered with other things like social media, like being at our laptop all day while we're working. We need to allow ourselves the space to receive this wisdom. And so let us take a look at what that might look like, mind, body, and spirit wise. So in our body, definitely ground your nervous system. And some simple ways to support your body right now during this transition time period: going for a long but slow walk, not rushing yourself, not going with any type of agenda, but just going on a walk, just to walk, to be in nature, stretching your shoulders and your neck, doing some self-massage on your jaw can be very helpful. Taking deep breaths, stepping away from your screens, venturing outside every once in a while, just to help your nervous system slow down. Because when our nervous systems are regulated, intuition becomes so much easier to hear. And then for our mind, I have some reflective questions that I would like for you to consider. What emotional chapter feels like it's closing right now? What have the past few months already taught me? This is the first, if you're, corporate speak, this is the first quarter. It's Q1. What are the last 3 months taught us? What lessons have you learned? And kind of just do a quarterly review with yourself. What do I want more of in this next chapter of my life? How did the first 3 months feel? What was missing? What do you want to experience more of in this next chapter, in this next quarter? And you don't need the exact perfect answers. You just need to spend some time, period, thinking about these things. And just allow yourself to explore. You could journal about them. You could just mentally think about them in solitude and silence with yourself. And then the last thing that I want to go over is how the spiritual piece of this comes into play. So what are some spiritual things that we can do to ensure that we are tending to our spiritual and emotional body? So for this new moon tomorrow, here are just a few simple rituals that you can do to tap into your spirituality. Lighting a candle, like we have done today. Lighting a candle and sitting quietly for a few minutes. I love a fire gaze, just basically staring at the flame. And something really cool that I like to do is willing the flame to do different things. So willing the flame to stay very still, willing the flame to flicker, And you can also do this with incense too. I love to do this with incense. I will stare at the incense and will it to go straight up. And then I will also will it to make different patterns, like a V or like swirls or something. And it doesn't always happen, but when it does, it feels like you feel like you're a wizard. You feel like you are Harry Potter himself, Hermione herself, studying witchcraft at Hogwarts or something. Taking a salt bath to cleanse yourself of any emotional residue left over from this murky, confusing, weird Mercury retrograde eclipse season. Lighting some Palo Santo incense. Also spending some time near water. If you are lucky enough to live near a body of water, spending some time just staring at the ocean, staring at the waves, and letting the rhythm of it, the soothingness of it, calm down your nervous system. And it's a great way to connect with the elements as well. And then writing down anything you are wanting to not only release, but your intentions for this next chapter. Really claiming that under this new moon, after you have spent some time with yourself to ground and even recognize what do I even want for this next chapter of my life? Or you can pull an oracle card. You can pull some tarot for yourself. You can work with a pendulum under this new moon, and also making moon water, of course. And then if you would like a deeper ritual container, I always do a paid ritual offering for different astrological and astronomical events that happen. This week on Friday, March 20th, I will be sharing a Spring Equinox ritual over on my Substack, and this is where we will intentionally transition into the astrological new year together. It also comes complete with a worksheet to perform right along with it. I usually do an audio paid offering on Substack. So if you have yet to experience that, I cordially invite you to come join me on Substack for the Spring Equinox ritual. All right, we have talked about a lot today. I feel like I kind of was just like Pisces, Aries, retrograde. Every other word, it kind of felt like I was just those things over and over again today. But sometimes it'd be like that, I guess. And before we close out, I do want to leave you with a small little grounding practice just for wherever you are right now and whatever you are doing. You don't need to stop and drop everything you're doing. You can do this with your eyes open, with your eyes closed, or still moving about your day. So don't worry about that. Whatever level of participation you are able to give right now, that is exactly what is needed. So just notice your breath and take a slow inhale through your nose. And just let your exhale be a little bit longer. And again, inhaling slowly and exhaling. Notice your shoulders. Notice your jaw. Notice your hands and the sensation of what it's like to touch whatever you're touching. And if your feet are planted on the ground, notice how they connect with the floor or whatever is supporting you. And just be here in this moment with me. Taking a few minutes to pause during your day, to be intentional about your breath, about noticing any stuck areas in your body that maybe have been screaming at you, holding on to all of this tension. If only you would just notice them. And then just asking yourself, either out loud or in your mind, what are you being invited to listen to reflect on before you move forward? And maybe that was answered in our divine guidance today. But maybe it wasn't, and maybe you still need to spend some time thinking about it. And then taking one more slow inhale through your nose. And then one long exhale. And wrapping this up because apparently someone has decided to mow their grass outside at 9 p.m. at night when I'm recording this. So I am not shocked as this retrograde comes to a close and little annoyances like that are kind of the norm all throughout. Before we close out, after you have just taken all these beautiful, big, long, deep breaths, I invite you to choose one word to move through this threshold with as we are between Pisces and Aries season to carry you through the next few days. So thinking about any word, it could be trust, clarity, patience, softness, courage, surrender, discernment, whatever you feel like you are needing before we begin the new year. And maybe you can pause the audio here for a second to just choose your word. But really the first word that comes to mind, whatever word, when I said choose one word, the first word that was like a knee-jerk reaction, that is your word. And once you have your word, you can place one hand on your heart and one hand on your lower belly. And once you have your hands placed, just say your word to yourself in your head, just like you are infusing the word into your body. And when you're ready, you can release your hands and return to your day. And so let this be the marker that our ritual is complete. It is sealed. Thank you so much for being here with me today, for letting me hold this little ritual space for you. And if you would like to join me for a deeper ritual practice, of course, like I said, we have the Spring Equinox ritual paid offering that will be over on my Substack. And then next week's episode will be the standalone meditation episode to help us ground in this early, fiery Aries energy. I know I took a couple weeks away from here. Mercury retrograde just got the best of me, and I thought I would rest instead of trying to force myself to push forward, because that is exactly how burnout happens, is we really want to do these things and we force ourselves to do these things even when we maybe don't have the energy to follow through. And I will try to be better about giving a heads up on YouTube or on Threads or Substack notes if I ever decide to take a little pause. But yeah, thank you again for being here. I appreciate you. And I appreciate you listening to this podcast. And until the next one, spend a little time listening to your own wisdom. Go on your solo date this week. It's best if you do it before the new year, but if you have to wait until the weekend, of course, still do your solo date then, so that you can get grounded before moving into this beautiful, wonderful, blessed next chapter. Until the next one, I'm your host, Kamela Celeste, signing off.